Hello, this is Ingress Agent 57 Cell here. In this video, I want to talk about a feature Niantic added to the game in 2020, the feature called drone fights.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh shit! Oh fuck!
Wait, what? What? Sorry, I meant drone flights, not drone fights. Although that did look pretty exciting. Niantic, if you're still taking feature requests, never mind. Let's talk about drone flights. It's pretty easy to find the drone control menu in the user interface because they highlight it all the time. You press the main button, then you press the drone net button at the bottom left, and then you see this drone view, where you can hack the portal it's on once before you have to move the drone, or you can move the drone to a nearby portal that's visible within the screen there. With drones came two new stats. The one I want to talk about here is longest drone flight distance. I posted this about a month after drones came out, saying that that was the longest possible distance in my city. And I was so wrong about that. So here I want to talk about how you can get your drone as far as possible, how you can maximize that stat for the city where you live. When you call up the drone view, you see a collection of portals around your drone, normally within about 600 meters or so. The problem is, if you want to jump further than that, you can't jump to a portal that you can't see in the drone view. The good news is there is a trick to making more portals appear if you have a key to the target portal you want to send the drone to. That is, you exit the drone view and call up that key, call up the portal view for that key, and then just muck around with it. Tap on it, tap on the mods, the resonators, recharge it maybe. Just look at that portal, and then when you go back to the drone view, there's a chance that the new portal will then be visible. You can see it, this tiny blue whisper in the distance over there. It may take you several tries, but if you persist, the new portal will appear in the drone view, and then you will be able to send it. So there you see a hop of 1,249 meters. Just less than 1.25 kilometers. So the furthest distance you can make a drone hop is a lot more than about 600 meters if you have a key. Now, here, I'm about to try to make a jump back to that same portal again. I've already done the key trick, all the recharging. I'm selecting the portal, this time from a portal that's about 1,251 meters away. And look what happens. It's out of range. There is a maximum drone hop range. I could jump to a portal 1,249 meters away, but not 1,251. That strongly suggests that 1,250 is the limit for a single drone hop, and that's coded into Niantic's server somewhere. That's hugely useful information for anyone who wants to bump up their maximum drone flight distance stat. I was able to use this information to plan a new route for my drone and push this 57 kilometer record all the way up to 86 kilometers. And yes, I did test this last hop to see whether it was possible, but 1.3 kilometers was out of range. You just can't send a drone that far. So I want to teach you how you can use this information to maximize the distance that your drone can travel in your city. So let's jump to a city with a lot of portals, the city of Singapore. The best way to plan a drone route would be using the right IITC plugin. Now, I don't actually know of a plugin that will do the job right now that handles this 1,250 meter limit. If you know of one, please tell me about it in the comments. If I find a good one that, you know, ideally even also tells you which hops will need a key, I'll review it in a video on this channel. And if you want to hear about that, if you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on. If you want to write a plugin like that, but you need a bit of help with the algorithms are not complicated, but I can talk you through them. I can give you pseudocode for them. Just, again, contact me through this channel and you can get this plugin out. But for this video, I'll show you how you can, just using stock IITC and standard plugins, how you can plan your drone route in your city. The first step is to zoom in on your map so that you can see all the portals. Make sure that your view shows all portals. Now, we're going to try to draw a big long line all around the entire city that the drone cannot cross. So, a line that goes between portals that are further than 1.25 kilometers apart. The first step is to get a sense for how big a distance that is. So, if I take the circle tool from Draw Tools, and if I draw a circle which is 625 meters in radius, there it is, 625. About there. So the diameter of that circle is the maximum hop length for a drone. If you can imagine pushing that circle around the map without touching any portals, as long as you can do that, you'll be drawing something that a drone cannot cross. So for example, and the line drawing tool gives you a handy ruler for distances between portals. So if we have a look at that's 1.61 kilometers, there's no way a drone could cross that. So I'm going to start drawing now, and it looks like drones cannot get across this inlet here, the Kranji Reservoir. Alright, so there's obviously no portals, no way for the drone to cross there. Let's just measure the distance between these two portals. It definitely looks like it's further than a drone could cross, but we'll quickly measure it. Sure enough, 1.79. There's no way a drone is going to get from that green portal to that blue portal. So we can continue drawing our border that the drone cannot cross. And look at that. It's obvious a drone can get anywhere around here. It's ridiculously easy for it to do that. The question is, can it get across this bump here? Let's just measure that distance there. Right, 1.2 kilometers. So a drone can get from this main body of portals to this little pocket here. So I'm going to draw my boundary around that little pocket so that we're capturing all this massive density of portals within the line. It is possible for the drone to get all the way to the second link via this route here. So we're going to draw this boundary around, but it's not possible to cross the second link. So let's just continue around the island now. I started building up the other end of this line, and would you look at that? It's possible to cross the causeway in a single hop into Johor Bahru. So drone flights from Singapore, they can actually be international. It looks like this border that I'm drawing is going to have to encompass two cities, not one, Singapore and Johor Bahru in southern Johor in Malaysia. So I'm now 20 kilometers up the second link expressway in Johor Bahru. in Skudai near Taman University, and still drawing this boundary around the cities that the drone can't cross. It looks to me like that distance is short enough, but you'll need a key, 1.18 kilometers. However, this distance up here does look a bit too far. Yep, so my drone fence is going to cut through there, through Taman Teknologi Johor. This poor little isolated portal looks like it's just a bit too far to reach, so I'm going to have to draw my drone fence around him, just to make sure I don't accidentally think later that those hops can be made. Well, I've reached an area north of Johor Bahru where there's basically no portals anywhere in this whole region, so this may be as far north as the drone flights can go. Let's just see what that portal is. That's Pulada Masjid, a mosque in Pusat Latihan Tempur Tentara Darat. Okay, so that, it may well be that that ends up being a critical portal for a drone flight, for a maximal length drone flight in Johor Bahru and Singapore. It may well be that we have to start there or end there. We'll find out. We'll find out when this drone fence is finished being drawn and we get to the next step. I'm sorry, Kampung Surai Tiram. It looks like you are outside the fence. That's a 2-kilometer jump. So my fence goes between you and Kampung Tenang and cuts you off from Singapore and Johor Bahru. Okay, this is a really close one. Let's just measure these distances. 1.42, 1.35. So it looks like we cannot reach that portal near Taman Pasir Emas, and that means we are back in this strait between the two countries. Okay, so I'm drawing my way up the strait between the two countries, even though I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to turn around again when I get to the causeway. And sure enough, we're going to have to start drawing the fence back again now, blocked in by these portals on the Singapore side. Would you look at that? It's possible to get onto Katam Island from Serangoon Island. That's a 1.21 kilometer jump, and just reach those two little portals there. What about over here? Is it possible to reach this group of portals too? Yes, it is. So it looks like all the portals on Katam Island can be reached from the Singapore mainland. So let's draw this big fence around them to include them too. Alright, this bit's really easy to know where the fence should be. Seringat Island and Lazarus Island are cut off. There's no way to get your drone to there from the main part of Singapore. Now there's that huge island south of Boon Lay with just one single portal. I think it's some kind of industrial zone, judging from the satellite view. But we can't reach it anyway. There's no way to jump to that portal from that blue one. Finally, we've reached the other end of this drone fence. We've completely drawn a drone fence around the entire two cities of Singapore and Johor Bahru that a drone simply will not be able to cross. Let's zoom out a bit now and have a look at what that looks like. Now the question is, what is the longest distance between any 2 points in this polygon? Now remember I said there's a portal there that might be one of the portals we end up needing. Let's just check that now. So if I measure the distance from this corner as far south as possible, that comes to 44 kilometers. So a drone flight between these 2 points would be about 44 kilometers. But looking at this map now, this overview, it looks like there is a longer route, specifically one that starts from this northwest corner and heads down to the southeast here. And sure enough, that's 53 kilometers. Let's just check a couple of the other corners there. 53.8 kilometers there. Is this longer? No, that's only 48. What about up there? It sure does look as if we need a drone path that goes from somewhere in Kangapulai, somewhere north of Kangapulai, where I'm drawing that yellow circle there, and it should end up around about where that blue portal is there, okay, at the southeast corner of Singapore. Now, if you're writing a plugin to find the longest drone flight distance, you don't need to draw this fence for the plugin. The plugin, this is for humans to be able to visually see which 2 points are the furthest apart. But a plugin can collect a list of portals that it's seen as you scroll around the map and just keep track of all the ones that can be reached from some particular place and compare them pairwise to see which 2 are the furthest apart. The plugin would not need to draw this fence. This is for humans. So now let's zoom in on these circles and identify the portals that we're going to fly between. Well, here we are at Bandar Baru Kangakulai, near Taman Purayamas, in the northwest part, the northwest outskirts of Johor. And it's a bit hard to see which of these portals is going to be the furthest away from that Singaporean one. I'm just going to mark a couple of likely looking candidates. Let's say that one there, and that one there. It's much easier to see which Singaporean portal is the key one. That's going to be this one here, the orange alligator. So anyone who wants to beat the record in Singapore or Johor Bahru for the longest drone flight path, you'll have to start or end at the orange alligator. Let's just draw a line, a big long straight line, to measure the distance to the northwestern portal. And here we are. So if I hover over this playground, that's 52.52 kilometers. Whereas this one here, 52.9 kilometers. Those will probably both come up exactly the same on your drone flight stat, but this one is longer, so I'll pick that one. And so now we've identified the start and end portals. These are the 2 portals in Singapore or Johor Bahru that are furthest apart that can still be reached with a series of drone hops. The next step is to plan the actual drone hops that you're going to do. So let's see how we do that. Now, as you're planning the hops, the first thing to remember is the maximum hop distance you can do is 1.25 kilometers. And, well, obviously I could hop from this portal to this blue portal with no trouble, with just a normal drone flight hop. But we're going to have to jump this distance anyway, so we might as well jump straight there from the starting portal, from the orange alligator. The thing to... oh, we can't. That's 1.27 kilometers. Okay, that's a shock. I may have made a mistake in my planning here. Let's just see if we can get there from this blue portal here. Yes, we can. Right, so the very first hop really is going to have to be just that tiny short hop. The very first or the very last. The next hop is a longer one. It's really helpful to mark the longer hops with a different color, because they are the ones you're going to have to harvest keys for to accomplish. So that hop there, 1.22 kilometers, it can be done. It's within the 1.25 kilometer range, but you're going to need a key for the target portal so that you can bring it up in the drone view. Alright, the next hop is fairly simple. The basic rule of thumb is if you can do a hop of under 550 meters, usually under 600 meters without any trouble. But sometimes even hops of 550 meters, very rarely they won't show up in the drone view. Be prepared for that. So to play it safe, you don't need a key for hops 500 or less. That should be ridiculously safe. But anything over that, you should mark with a different color, because you know you're going to have to go and farm keys to the portals to be able to make those jumps. Can we reach that portal there? That's too far. So the next jump has to be up there to this group of portals here. And then a hop there to near that fancy roundabout. And then I would say you can get to there, but you're going to need a key for the target portal when you make that jump. Now we're in this massive dense body of portals. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to do the drone flight in as few hops as possible, you could collect lots of keys and save yourself a number of hops. That might be a really good idea if you want to get through an area very quickly. You also ought to take advantage of what you know about gameplay in an area to avoid really busy areas, places where the portals change hands very rapidly. So I'm just going to randomly click here, because frankly I don't know which are the good portals to land on here. Of course, if you're planning your drone flight through your city, you choose whatever route you think is the best one. This is the part of planning that an IRTC plugin would be enormously helpful for, because it could, for example, select for you the drone path that has the fewest hops. That there are really efficient ways for a computer to find the drone path with the fewest hops, or the fewest long hops, or some balance of those two criteria. This jump here, from here to these portals, is 630 meters. We really are very likely to need a key to make that jump. Let's mark this in red, and since we're using a key anyway, we might as well make it a nice long jump. All the way to that portal, and then, okay, that's about 1 kilometer, all the way to there, say. 3 little key jumps there. You really don't need a key for all of these. You could use individual hops to go around that road there. But hey, if you're coming here to farm keys anyway, you might as well just grab a couple of extras. Alright, now the drone path is approaching woodlands. It's just a coincidence, of course, that the yellow straight line path passes pretty much exactly through this causeway portal. Let's just measure whether we need keys to that portal in the middle there. It looks like we don't. We don't need we don't need a key to get from the Singapore side to that portal smack in the middle of the causeway. What about to the Malaysian side? Sure enough, you will not need keys to cross the causeway. So that's pretty good news. I imagine this causeway, this portal here, it can be pretty hard to get a key for that, since you're kind of in a no man's land between the two countries. Johor Bahru is pretty dense with portals, but there are gaps. There are gaps here and there. So for example, that jump there at 700 meters, you're going to need a key to do that. Let's just extend it a bit further if we can. Alright, and now a big long hop over there to... and then we're just a few steps away from the target portal. So let's draw in there's hops. 1, 2, 3. And there it is. I've drawn out a plan for a drone flight, the longest possible drone flight in either of these cities. There it is. So it's a bit wiggly. The drone flight stat will just be the straight line distance. So there's no point making it even more wiggly. There it is. This is without the roads at all. Okay, map box, for some reason the maps don't load, but that's great if you just want to see a plan or a path or so forth. So there it is. There's the plan to drone flight. And you can see there's a number of places I've marked in red because we're going to need to collect keys to make those jumps. There's not that many. There's I thought there might be more. But that was based on my experience in my town, which is a much more spread out city than Singapore is. You'll need to decide which end of this path you're going to start your drone flight from. It's probably a good idea to start at the portal that is easier for you to get to, because if a portal's captured or it decays, your drone will be recalled back to your scanner and you'll have to start over again. So pick a starting portal which is easy for you to get to. Singaporeans, I guess that means you start down at that orange alligator. Malaysians, people from Johor Bahru, you'd start up near up near Kanga Pulai there. And that will determine which keys you need for these key hops. If you're starting in Johor Bahru, you'll need the keys to the right-hand portals. So the very first key you would need if you're starting in Johor Bahru would be Pulai Perdana Playground. On your key farming trip, it's probably a great idea to place your drone for the first time, since you have to come here anyway. When you're placing your drone at the initial portal, one thing I really recommend is you don't place the drone and then think, hey, wow, that's a unique capture for me, and then capture the portal. I mean, who would do that, right? Nobody would do that. Anyway, because if you do, that would mean you'll have to wait around another hour at that start portal. This is totally not a real experience, okay? That never happened to me, I assure you. Let's see what the next key is. Okay, so there's the next key hop, all the way from there to there. There's no name labels coming up here. That's Pondok Rehat, Rini Hills. We're in Rini Hills. No relation to Beverly Hills, I'm sure. And then the next portal, the next drone hop portal is here, near this massive interchange here. So that is Pulau View Fountain. Okay, so you'd collect a key to Pulau View Fountain. If you're a Singaporean, you've decided to start on the Singapore side, of course the key you need is this one here, Teman Playground. Make sure you do actually get the keys when you're there. You don't want to find when your drone is halfway through flying that you're missing a key or that you've accidentally recycled it. Okay, Duck Duck on the Vase is the next one for Johorians. Or for Singaporeans, the next one you'll need will be Fountain Hospital Paka Putri. And so on. When you're collecting these portal keys, you'll get to see some places that you otherwise never would have visited. And that's one of the great things about Ingress, is where it takes you. So that alone is worth doing this for. Just to let your drone lead you to just to see some amazing things. You're collecting the keys, you'll get the keys, and then it's game on. Every hour, as many hours as you can, move your drone to the next portal. Keep your drone path keys in a special capsule so you don't accidentally use them or recycle them. And if your drone gets sent back, if your drone gets sent back to you, go back to the start, place it again, try again, this time being careful to avoid the area or rush through the area, or make sure it's not in the area when people play there. Or just find another path. And pretty soon, if you follow this, you'll have your drone path record as the maximum possible within your city. So go for it. And And as I said, if I see a plugin, an IRTC plugin that helps with planning the drone path, I'll definitely put a review of that on this channel. If you want to be notified of that as soon as I put it up, make sure you do subscribe, as I said, turn on notifications. And if you're from Singapore and Malaysia, I'm going to put this draw tools into the description of this video. So just scroll down to the description and you'll be able to download the draw tools that I've drawn up for this planned drone path through Singapore and Johor Bahru, so that you can get your, what was it, 55 kilometers, 59, I can't remember, 58.9 kilometers. So whatever it was, it will be the longest possible drone path for you in your city. That's about all for me now. This is Agent 57 Cell signing out. No, what? No, we're not including this scene. We decided we're not including this scene, remember? No, it was just a joke. Look, just cut the scene, okay? We don't want this in the final video. Alright? You'll cut it out before we upload? That's great. Thank you.